So with this, I would now like to welcome Brother Bill. I'll stop sharing the screen. And if you can just highlight him. Yes, and here you are. Thank you so much for joining in. And before I pass it on to you, I need to really give a short introduction about you to the audience we have, and also a small poem as usual. So, Brother Bill has joined us for the first time. He has been practicing Raj Yoga meditation since 1986, more than 30 years now. And he is a member of the coordinator teams of the country of Spain, so the Spanish coordinating team. And at a professional level, that's what he's quoted, that his purpose is to inspire people to strengthen and develop their inner potential, thereby helping them to release their inner resources. Since 2005, he has been working as an executive coach, a facilitator, and a trainer in leadership abilities and personal and leadership development. And he's conducted many such programs or workshops in many companies, to name a few: Nestle, Volvo, Telefonica, if you know all of these companies. So, as always, a poem for Brother Bill and for today's topic on respect. So, we have with us a spiritual guest all the way from Spain, whose lectures pour knowledge like the spiritual rain, who give us an experience of flying in a subtle plane away from the hustle, bustle, and the daily strain. Being away from self-respect induces a lot of pain, making us suffer a lot in life without any gain. So today, let's take this opportunity and stop this self-drain, because waste thoughts that race and speed up like a fast train. So let me put a full stop to them forever in my hasty brain, because they are all connected closely and bind me like a chain, the waste thoughts. But finally, with the Supreme's advice, I can find some peace again and make my spiritual life sorted, stable, and sane. Okay. So with this, thank you so much, Brother Bill. Thanks. So the stage is, yeah, you were saying
Manoj, one question. Can you remind me a little bit the timings so that
yeah, the thing actually. For the next 45 minutes, you can talk about respect, and you already have heard Sudha Didi speaking. You can add your version of it. And the last 10-15 minutes, maybe we'll see if we have a few question and answers, if they are in the chat box. And then the last 10-15 minutes, the closing meditation. So hope that's good.
Perfect.
Thank you. Over to you.
Thanks, Manoj, and thanks everyone for the invitation. And it's my pleasure it's a very respectful invitation. And I was thinking, I was listening your sharings and all these ideas that you were sharing before, and I was thinking, well, how to add things that have value and maybe something a bit different, because you have reflected, you have had lots of reflection around respect, so many ideas you already have. So let us begin by reminding again that respect has to do, as you were sharing before, no, has to do with keeping a vision, an internal vision of value, of appreciation of whatever you respect, because it's not just the others, is, as you were saying, yourself, the others, God, but also objects, nature, animals, as Sudha Didi was saying, actions, the actions you do. So you recognize the intrinsic value, and you appreciate that, and you honor that. So you keep that in your vision. So up to here, I think I'm not saying anything new because this is what you have been sharing. So I would like to begin with some reflection about, and see, these are thoughts that I have been churning. See if this is useful for you. But the idea I want to share with all of you is that respect maybe increases, and it's more easy to practice if we have the right framework of knowledge and understanding. Because I think respect is very much connected also with understanding better the person, whatever, understanding the value, understanding the importance of something, of someone.
Here today, so I
And understanding the value of its essence. In this, there is some noise there. In this sense.
For that, we'll just mute. Anu sister, if you can just do that. Thanks. Sorry, yeah, please go ahead.
In this respect, spiritual knowledge gives us a framework on about how do we see reality, how do we see the universe, how do we understand our place in the world, how do we understand our origin. And I want to share with you some reflection about that. In Brahma Kumaris, we believe in the reincarnation. We are souls, we are spiritual beings, and we take rebirth in this physical plane. And so there is a concept of time which is cyclic. And so the cycle of time means that there are 4 ages in humanity, and the first 2 ages, the Golden Age and Silver Age, are ages of peace and purity and spiritual consciousness. And Copper Age and Iron Age are 2 ages where we begin to develop weaknesses, vices, and all sorts of negative traits, etc. And so, according to our understanding of time and understanding of the world, we live now in the Iron Age. But our original nature, the original nature of each and every soul, is purity, is a stage of cleanliness, even divinity. So this is the reflection I wanted to share, that if we look at human beings as in this framework of knowledge, that they are souls, and their original nature is of peace, of purity, of love, that they have this intrinsic value, that they are divine beings also. They have this divinity inside. I think this helps us to see each other more easily with respect, because we understand the intrinsic value of the soul, of the human being, because human being is a combination of body and soul. But the importance really is in the soul, because it's the soul that travels through different lives and is present in front of you right now. So this is an interesting reflection, because this is a perspective of the world, of time, and of the universe, very different than the common mainstream perspective, which is of evolution. And I know this can be there can be a little bit of polemic, but I think it's good to share different ideas. So if we are just a monkey that has evolved into a human being now, and we come from the monkeys, so it's not a strange thing, or it's not unusual that we will show certain monkey behavior. That's normal, because we come from the monkeys. And if I think in my vision that the person I have in front of me comes from the monkeys, so yes, I should definitely respect that person too. But what is the vision that I am holding in my consciousness? Okay, that this is an evolved monkey. So I think the reflection, what I wanted to share is that it is very different. It is very different because respect flows more naturally when the vision of the value and dignity and importance, for instance, of the person that I have in front of me is a high vision, is an elevated vision. So the framework of spiritual knowledge, the spiritual knowledge with which we work in Raj Yoga meditation in Brahma Kumaris, I think helps us more easily to have a vision of respect. And so understanding is essential for having natural respect, because we can hear all these sentences, wonderful sentences, all these ideas, but if I don't see really internally, and I don't understand the value and the importance of something, I will need to force myself a little bit to create that perspective of respect. It won't be as natural as when you recognize and when you see and you appreciate and understand the value of someone or something. One example could be our relation and respect for God. We understand in Raj Yoga that God is the most benevolent being of all. He is the supreme soul. And he is the one who is constantly protecting us, sharing the best with us, giving us. He is the benefactor. He is the one who is helping human souls to achieve the best or to develop the best of ourselves. So he is the source of the purest qualities, and he is inviting us to have yoga, to connect with him, to absorb, because yoga means to absorb those sanskars, those qualities in ourselves. And he is working so hard, even though he doesn't get tired, but he is doing such an unlimited work of transforming human souls, teaching us, accompanying us, protecting us. He's doing so much for us, so much. No one in this world. And today I was sharing, I had a course, Raj Yoga course this morning, and we were sharing, there are now in the world 8,000 million human beings. 8,000 million human beings. And not even one of the 8,000 million can do what God is doing, transforming the world. I'm sharing all of this because the moment you understand better who is God, and it's a matter of understanding, not just a blind respect that you have to respect God, because it doesn't happen. We can see, I will share examples now. But the moment I understand who is God, I understand his task, I understand what he's doing, the greater is my appreciation and my value of God and God's task, which is absolutely unlimited, absolutely beyond human capacity. And so you feel natural respect. And it's not a question of respect based on fear, because in devotion, devotees many times have fear of God, have fear of God's punishment or God's judgment based on a framework that I think is wrong. These are the beliefs that God is the one who who gives us a prize or punishes according to our actions. And so this is a wrong framework. The right framework for me is that is the result of our karma. But you see, then understanding God, understanding his greatness, it's easy to have respect for God. I mean, it's very natural. But you see what happens in the world. For the word God, you may see that, I see it many times, that people use very disrespectful terms. People talk about God, insulting him many times. But then I can clearly see, and they don't respect God. And this is used in language. It's better not to even mention those phrases where they put God, because they are very negative phrases about God. But you can see clearly that, first of all, those persons that disrespect God, insult God, defame God, it is very clear that they don't know God, don't know who God is. So, in fact, they are insulting an idea about God, something they have maybe learned and something they have learned to believe, that God is that. So in that sense, because this is what I wanted to share, this idea that it is when we understand better the value and the contribution of something, of someone, that then respect can emerge more naturally. So this was my point, no? How to develop a sense of respect in a natural way, so that we don't need to make effort to be respectful, because it flows naturally from our consciousness. And I think it's on the basis of the framework, the vision, the understanding we have of reality and of whatever we are respecting, no? Whatever, because as I was saying, every level of reality, God, human beings, nature, actions, ideas, so many things that we have to practice being respectful. We need to give respect. And so we can maybe reflect a little bit on this, but you have done it a lot before. But as I was saying, respect for God is easy, understanding who God is, and then respect for the self. You have been sharing about that, self-respect. So it's easier in this framework of spiritual knowledge, in which when I understand that I come from divinity, I come from purity, I come from an elevated stage of being, I am an elevated being originally. Because if I look at myself simply with the stage that I have right now, maybe it's more difficult to really feel and experience self-respect, respect for the self. But when I work on these ideas and I meditate on them, and I get experiences of my inner divinity, my inner purity, I connect with those original qualities, then in a natural way, I begin to feel more and more respect for myself. It was difficult before, for me, for instance, it was difficult before spiritual knowledge, before coming to the Brahma Kumaris, to feel that sense of elevated self-respect. Because again and again, I was seeing my weaknesses, my shortcomings, all the negative things that I was caught up with. But in the right framework of understanding of who am I, my true nature, my essence, my greatness, so then it's becoming easier. And even then, I'm sure many of you can relate to this. Even then, self-respect is something that we need again and again to work on it, to pay attention, because we can fall again in a vision that is not so high, not so elevated about ourselves. And so this is something that we need to practice. And for that, I think that time we spend in meditation, reflecting and contemplating thoughts of spiritual knowledge helps us a lot. Because in spiritual knowledge, we feel and believe that we can become an angel. We can become a very elevated, because that's our true original nature. So to spend time in silence, contemplating those elevated thoughts, or simply, I am an eternally pure and peaceful soul, that is also a very elevated thought to contemplate and to experience in meditation. So I think this is very important, because this would be something to add. It's easier also to respect if you have an experience of the value. In this case, we were talking about self-respect. One thing that helps us a lot is the understanding, the framework of spiritual knowledge, the vision that I have about myself, that helps me to raise my self-respect, but also, very important, the experience that I obtain through meditation. Because once I experience even a glimpse of that purity, perfection, divinity in myself, that elevated stage of consciousness, that makes our self-respect so real, and it gives us like a deep basis for self-respect. So both things, I would say, are very important. The understanding, the framework from which I see reality, I see myself, for instance, and the experience of the value of the self, of the soul. And so self-respect is essential, because also makes us independent of something that happens when we are not in self-respect. The opposite of self-respect is arrogance, but arrogance is an expression of ego, the wrong consciousness, the limited consciousness that we have developed. You see, again, it is the framework of knowledge that explains us how have we developed this wrong type of consciousness about ourselves. It has been through time, through our different births and rebirths. We have acquired new layers of misunderstanding, of wrong habits, wrong sanskars, as we say, and we have developed a wrong vision of ourselves. And we have constructed a kind of artificial image of who am I, very much based on external supports or external aspects like the physical body, the role that I play, nationality, gender, even religion that I belong to, whatever. I construct this image, this limited ego, and from there, it is, I would say, impossible to experience the elevated self-respect that spirituality gives us. I think from the ego, it is everything artificial. What I mean is if you are in the ego limited consciousness, you will think, yes, respect is important, but it doesn't flow naturally. You have to force yourself a little bit, and it is like very unnatural. You have to pretend that you are respectful, because in this limited ego and consciousness, we have developed very many habits and attitudes that are disrespectful. For instance, it is disrespectful to keep the defects of others in our vision, the shortcomings of others, and we do it very naturally and in ego. And then you think, well, but I have to respect this person. But if I don't change internally my vision, it's an artificial respect, because I would say, no, I respect you, but internally I keep your defects, I keep your shortcomings in my vision. So it's not true respect. It's an artificial thing. It's a maybe social manners. I will treat you with respect because this is what looks good, and this looking good syndrome is of the ego, to look good, to look as I am a respectful person and a person that gives respect. But in fact not, because if we think about our own experience, when we are influenced by ego, there are many times that we don't respect others. In fact, I would say disrespectful attitudes come very naturally in this stage of ego consciousness. In a natural way, we want, for instance, to impose our point of view, our opinion. We think our opinion is better. Sometimes we cut the other person that is talking, which is very disrespectful. And we do many things. And then we will say, no, but I respect you. I have been respectful. But no, there are so many signs that you don't respect, you don't value, you don't keep an elevated vision of the other one. So I think that this aspect of self-respect, giving respect to others as the basis, as you were saying before, completely, it's an aspect that we remind each other, that Daddy Prakashmani used to share many times, no, that give regard and then receive regard, no, but you receive regard giving regard, no, it's like you receive respect giving respect is something that you need to give. But this comes down to the practice of soul consciousness, because if we don't practice soul consciousness and we remain in what we call sometimes body consciousness, this ego consciousness, it is very difficult to practice this in a natural way. Soul consciousness, a sign of soul consciousness is this respectful nature towards others and being stable, or increasing at least, because stable is not a small thing, increasing at least our experience of self-respect. But this is the fruit of the practice of soul consciousness. And so all these things are connected with the natural flow of respect. Then some tips regarding relations. I would say that when we have a conflict or disagreement with others, or this lack of harmony in some relation, one way of solving the problems and conflicts with others is to practice this inner vision of respect. And specifically, what works very well is that From ego consciousness, we would keep the weakness or whatever we don't like from the other person. But by paying attention in our soul consciousness, we can practice that even with this person that we have a conflict, try to detect one speciality, one virtue, something that has value. Because remember that respect is connected with my vision of value and appreciation. And so if I focus myself, especially with this difficult relationship, if I focus myself on the speciality or virtue, maybe sometimes we have to work a little bit on this, because when we have a conflict with someone, it is difficult for us to discern or to see clearly the virtue, the speciality. So I need to work a little bit on that. And this is the effort, special spiritual effort, is to keep in my vision that speciality or that virtue. Because when I do that, in a subtle way, I am spreading vibrations of respect. I'm giving respect. Because how do you give respect? Of course, there are external manners and aspects that, by listening, by not cutting, but by accepting their ideas, of course, this is important. But simply through our vision, how do we see each other, we are also giving respect when our consciousness is holding this elevated vision of the other person. Then I am giving respect, because I am keeping in my consciousness that this person is a soul, has this speciality, has this virtue, and even I can think is a God's child also, because this is an intrinsic dignity of each human being. No, the soul is God's child. So there are different thoughts that can help us to keep that elevated vision. And when we keep that elevated vision, we are giving subtle vibrations of respect to the other person. So this will help us a lot to clean any disharmony, any conflict, any problem that we have with someone, for instance. We sometimes talk about clean heart, which means that this spiritual vision includes the idea of, or the experience of, not having any bad feeling, but feelings will be of good quality, good wishes. And so these are the vibrations and the energy that I am sending out to the other soul. So this is a tip to practice always, because we will be very successful in our relationships with others if we practice this with everyone. But especially if we have some kind of difficulty with some relation, so we can practice this this exercise, this vision. So this is about respecting others. So important, so essential, and so beneficial for all of us. As you were saying before, giving respect is the basis of getting respect, because on the other side, as I was talking about the ego consciousness, the limited consciousness, always in that level of consciousness we want respect. We are not giving it, and we want to get it from others. And so we are very much oriented to disappointment because we are not going to succeed with that method. Maybe we will do things to impress others, to gain their respect or whatever, but it will be hard work and very very little result or lots of disappointment. So what else? We could also go a little bit to the level of respecting nature, respecting resources. When something, as I was saying before, when I don't really understand and recognize the value of something, is more difficult to respect. So sometimes we can see that in our society nowadays, what happens is that we don't respect nature as a society. I'm not talking individually, any of us, but as a society, because there has been this concept of unlimited growth and expansion and unlimited use of resources that are not unlimited. And so sometimes we can see, especially in Western countries, that there is no respect for something, the essential resources we are using. And sometimes we misuse a lot of water or food. The other day I heard that 1/3 of the food is thrown in this country where I am, in Spain, for instance, 1/3 of food, because in the restaurants in different places they throw a lot of food. So this is like a lack of respect to nature, to resources. So now people begin to see that there are many problems. There is shortage of energy, of resources in many aspects, and then they are realizing the value. So they pay more. They are beginning to pay more attention. But this is because of the circumstance. But when I respect nature and I respect the natural resources and anything that I can use and I can take benefit from it, that means that I will use it with respect. I will use it understanding and valuing, understanding its value and recognizing its importance. So, for instance, I will only use the quantity of water that I need. I will eat. I will not throw food, etc. So I think this relation with nature, with resources, it's also very important that we keep internally the understanding, the importance, the value of everything. And then we naturally, in a natural way, we will use everything with respect, respectfully. We will not exploit nature and resources. That is what the current civilization has done, and we can see so many enormous problems that we are facing, and we will keep facing this in this period of time. So this is of course of respect for animals. I mean, we in Brahma Kumaris we are vegetarians, so of course we practice a non-violent diet. So respect for animals, respect for nature, respect for everything. So connected always with understanding, recognizing the importance, the value of everything. So I think that is a little bit the essence of what I wanted to share. And maybe if there is any question, anything that you want to share, I'm open now. And then we can have some meditation later.
Right. So thank you so much, Brother Bill. At the moment, there are not many.
Brother, you are muted.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know. It just went mute again. Yeah. So there were many. There are not many questions in the inbox in the chat box here, but I asked this question to Sudha Didi as well because many people have this question, and we covered this another value called regard. So, do you feel there's any difference between regard and respect?
Is good question, and I have to admit I don't really know because regard and respect, it seems to be they have the same translation in Spanish, you know. So for sure there must be some difference, but maybe anyone listening that knows the difference can help us.
Maybe Dr. Mehta wants to add something or ask any other question. Yeah. Sorry, you have to unmute. Yeah.
I think this respect and regard is to split. I think we should be unifying rather than splitting. That's for what we in India we call it Pandit Kiri. You want to show your superiority over somebody else. I think we should avoid splitting regard and respect. I think we should consider it as what he said, that he has only one word in Spanish. I think they're more intelligent.
No, but maybe there is some difference, some slight difference. I don't know. Maybe.
Like commanding respect and giving regard, I think it's like that's what last time I think we heard about that. But I would rather have
You
it
would
as
think that it is the same also.
it's synonymous. This is a beautiful
Synonymous,
word,
yes.
English grammar. We call it synonymous. The same thing can be expressed in multiple ways.
Actually, there are many answers in the chat box. Like I would just because you all have started sharing.
If they want to add
So
something about that, fantastic.
Mr. Rehna and Neeraj Bhai, both of them are saying that that's what they have heard from many other sharings as well from other Brahma Kumari speakers, that regard is more of something which is external, regard for the post, regard for the position. So for example, if it's a security guard, he may be opening the door and he may be saluting you. He's trying to regard you externally for your post and position. But internally, he may not be really respecting you. But that's what they're trying to say. Respect is something more from an internal level when you really value the person from inside. It's an internal thing. And regard is more for the outer thing, the external perspective. So even if I regard someone, but I may not have respect from him. I may not have respect for him, not from him, sorry, for him.
We always write, I write a letter, always write warm regards. That doesn't mean externally. Warm regards is if I'm telling someone I'm giving my respect, it's same, it's warm regards.
Okay.
But anyway, you may be right. I mean,
yeah, but what Manoj is saying, or the contribution, is that maybe it's more formal, no? People say best regards, warm regards, and maybe they are not in some case they are not feeling it really, no? But they are giving regard, no? Could be one way of looking at it.
like
Yeah,
English, you always write,
sorry.
I remain yours faithfully, I remain yours sincerely. I mean, these are
respectfully, no? They also use, no?
that's formal thing.
Right. Okay, so I think
let me say, if you allow me to say, this respect, I have read it somewhere that respect is to all the souls. One respects to everyone, but regard is to the elevated souls. That is the difference. I could see, I have read it somewhere. In some of the Murlis, I have read it, let me tell you. So you can tell me better for that, but this is what is. So sometimes we write respect.
Om Shanti.
Okay, so interesting. I think both of you are Lokik brothers also, Vijaypal Bhai and Brijpal Bhai. So Vijaypal Bhai, you can just do your last closing comment on that. Yeah.
Om Shanti Bhaiji, dear brothers and sisters, please accept my greetings of love, peace, and happiness. Regard is when you are body conscious, when you see the role, when you see the externally people, like a driver in a five-star hotel, or an entrant, or a driver opening your car gate or the hotel gate. These are all regards to people's roles and personalities and status. Respect is from heart. When you respect soul to soul, you see others as a soul. So soul to soul connection is respect, and that is what we call soman also. This is respect of the soul, but regard is only externally for role and responsibility and positions. Om Shanti.
Right. So thank you so much, Vijay Bhai, for that closing comment. And we are heading towards the meditation and announcements. So before that, I would request Dr. Mehta to please propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Dr. Mehta.
It's a pleasure to listen to Brother Simo, whom I had never had an opportunity of meeting
Yes.
earlier physically or even on a Zoom. Thank you, brother. I think we are all very simple individuals, like what you said, respect and regard. I think we respect and regard both to you. And thank you very much for giving us some insight into the subject of respect. And I hope we meet sometime physically and have an opportunity of interacting with each other. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mehta. I'm sure Brother Bill can read in the chat box. The BK Peer is writing something. I'm sure you can read it. And there's another sister or brother, Sarabjit, because she's raised her hand, she or he. Do you want to quickly ask Sarabjit? That will be the last question. You can unmute, please.
Om Shanti, everybody. मेरा ये हिंदी में क्वेश्चन पूछ सकती हूँ?
तो स्पेनिश में जवाब देंगे.
Yeah, and then I can translate in English.
मेरा क्वेश्चन है, ऑलवेज ये कहा जाता है, हाँ, मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है कि ऑलवेज बच्चों को कहते हैं, जब छोटों को कहते हैं बड़ों की रिस्पेक्ट करो, मगर कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि बड़े बच्चों का रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करते, जैसे वो चाहते हैं कि हम उनके करें, वो उनको उस तरह ट्रीट नहीं करते. तो हमें उस वक्त, जैसे मैं अपना एग्जांपल देती हूँ, मैं ब्रह्मा कुमारी टीचिंग को फॉलो करती हूँ, मगर मैं बहुत पेशेंस रखती हूँ. मेरी मदर ऑलवेज मेरी डिसरिस्पेक्ट करती है, ऑलवेज मैं उसकी रिस्पेक्ट करती हूँ, वो मेरी डिसरिस्पेक्ट करती है. उस वक्त मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, कितना अपना कैसे अपने आप को सोच को संभालना चाहिए कि वो चाहे मेरी डिसरिस्पेक्ट करे, मुझे फिर भी उसका.
So Sarabjit ji, आपका क्वेश्चन समझ में आ गया. I'll translate in English because she was cutting off. Okay, so she's saying that she's giving an example of her mother-in-law and herself. So she says that I respect my mother-in-law, but my mother-in-law is very disrespectful towards me. So how do I manage such a situation?
Well, I think then that what we need is to increase our self-respect, because self-respect is like the protection towards the negativity or negative vision and behavior of others towards ourselves. When we stay in our self-respect, it is like, in our spiritual knowledge, what we say is that if we stay in self-respect, our spiritual powers, inner capacities that we have, like the power to tolerate, are available for us. So what means this is that this spiritual power, like power to tolerate, it's like a protection from the vibrations and attitudes of others. So if we are truly, really in our self-respect, we will not be affected by the mother-in-law, maybe disrespectful, but it will remain her problem, not your problem. But you don't have to focus in in wanting her to change. What you need to focus is on increasing your self-respect. Work on your self-respect even more. Elevate your vision about yourself. That's how I understand it.
Okay, so great. Thank you so much. And Vijay Pal Bhai is also again stressing that we need to have a group photo so we can have it. All of you just can open your cameras. In the meantime, I will just share the screen and Anu sister be ready with that after I finish sharing.
Thank you
I'll-
very much.
Thanks. So I will just do the quick announcements. So let's go further to the next episode, which is next Saturday on freedom. In Hindi, we call it Swatantrata. And as we had promised, actually, that this third year of Values for Life series and talks we will try to have a few dialogues with senior Raj Yogis. So we are very fortunate that we have again two senior Raj Yogis with us, Brother Eric, the National Coordinator of Canada, and Sister Jenna, who's a senior Raj Yoga teacher from Washington, DC. So both of them, it will be the same time again, the winter time. For the East Coast, it is 10 a.m. and the West Coast, it is 7 a.m., 8:30 p.m. for India. And as always, after the talk, we'll be having the workshop. And again, we have a new face with us. As we said, we have promised that we'll be always getting new speakers because we want to listen to more and more wisdom from all the senior Rajogi brothers from the entire European continent, which we haven't explored as yet. So it's Brother Marcelo, who's from Colombia. It will be a week after that. And this is our elegant calendar just to tell you that for some reasons, we had to postpone the silence retreat because it's falling on 25th December, right on the Christmas day. So we may not be able to do that. Therefore, we'll be doing it. We'll be having 2 silence retreats in January. So it's a big bonus for all of you because it suddenly reminds me that it's the Avyakt month, what we call. We try to practice a lot of silence so as to experience that Avyak state. So we'll be having 2 silence retreats in January. We'll be announcing that soon, later. And please feel free to give your feedback and comments on our emails. Our emails is valuesforlifeseries@gmail.com and Vancouver, it's vancouver@ca.brahmakumaris.org. And also you can visit our websites, it's mentioned here. And all these workshops will be found on omshanti.tk/workshop. And all the episodes of Values for Life series can be found out on this playlist. Again, omshanti.tk, it's simple one, /playlist/English. So with this, I'll just stop sharing. And before we go into the meditation mode, let us just all, Anu sister, you can take the photograph. Yeah, thanks.
Everyone, please open your video. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So we'll just, so all of you are requested to please be there for the meditation. And I would request Brother Bill to give us the meditation experience.
So let us now, first of all, find the right posture for the body, back straight, and allow the body to find its balance. Let go of any tension if we see that there is any tension in the feet, legs, the hands, the arms, shoulders, maybe the neck. We need to stretch a little bit the neck. And allow our breathing to find its own rhythm. Don't need to force it. We don't need to relax the breathing, just allow it to become natural. And so we leave the body in a position so that we can somehow forget the body whilst we are meditating. And now we go within, we go inside, and we become aware. We can become aware now of being present, being here and now. Because first of all, when we meditate, it's creating a pause. It's creating a space in which we can let go, put aside all the mundane thoughts about situations, tasks, roles. There are so many things we are involved with, but right now we don't need to think about any of those. We can put them aside and just be aware of our inner presence, the energy of our being, the inner self. And in Raj Yoga meditation, we understand our inner self as a wonderful being of light, a wonderful tiny star of spiritual energy, spiritual conscious energy. That's what I am. Spiritual being, an eternal soul, a being of light. And I can keep this vision about who am I. And this wonderful star that shines inside, this star that I am, has the natural nature of peace. My original quality of peace emerges now. I am an eternal soul, an eternal peaceful soul, loveful soul, benevolent soul. And I open myself to allow these pure feelings to flow inside myself, benevolent feelings, loveful feelings, peaceful feelings, and all my inner world right now becomes very harmonious, very balanced. My mind, my intellect, my personality, my sanskars, everything harmonizes inside. And in this level of vibration, in this frequency, I can open myself to connect with the eternal divine source of purity, peace, and love, the Supreme Being, the Supreme Soul, my eternal protector, companion, friend, mother, father. He is my everything at a spiritual level. He is also a star, a point of light, eternally pure in the spiritual dimension. So I open myself to absorb, to fill myself with the purest and cleanest energy, this godly energy. And from this experience of belonging to the Supreme, I realize my eternal and true value. I can develop a vision of elevated respect towards the self. I respect who am I, my divine nature, my true nature, my original nature, and I respect who am I. And I can expand this experience with the vision that each and every soul of this world is also God's child, and it's also divine in nature, originally. And so I keep this elevated, pure vision, a vision filled with respect towards each and every soul. And I can keep this intention as I prepare to come back from this meditation. We can keep this intention alive of keeping this elevated vision towards myself, towards others, towards nature, the vision of true, genuine, authentic respect. Om Shanti.
So, thank you, Brother Bill, for the beautiful experience and also for your time and talk. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Manoj.